Welcome back to the Apatros review. In this episode, Bloodsport 3. Hi there. Welcome to the Apatros review. I'm your host, Milo Sipka, and join me as we go on a weird trip throughout science fiction, action, horror DVDs, all in my personal collection. In this episode, we look at the film Bloodsport 3, directed by Alan Meres in the year 1996. Before it was released direct-to-video around 97 or so. Now, this was released onto Region 4 by the mysterious Jail Entertainment, which originally bought out a number of reasonably cheap skeleton discs of VHS-derived titles, then turned to issuing grey market duplicates of foreign-made discs. It's one of the early ones. Now, after finding out his son is being suspended from school for defending himself against bullies, Alex Cardo decides to tell the kid a story from his past. After winning the Kumite, Cardo became a very successful gambler in the Far East. He then saved his favorite casino from being robbed by ninjas, and in gratitude the owner persuaded him to meet his backer, the crime lord Jacques Duvalier, who is planning to mount his own version of the Kumite, only with lesser restrictions on who can enter. Essentially, this new Kumite is meant for gambling purposes only, and Cardo, on learning this, refuses to enter. Duvalier responds by ordering the killing of Cardo's mentor, Master's son, which prompts Cardo, after taking a spell learning extra skills from retired Kumite Judge Mikado, to secretly enter the competition upended by kicking the ass of every competitor in it, including Duvalier's ringer, the war criminal known as the Beast. Now, after the surprise modest success of his first sequel to the cult Jean-Claude Van Damme martial arts thriller Bloodsport, director-producer Alan Meres decided to make another one. Of course, the law of diminishing returns started to set into this budding franchise, but that didn't quite break the spirit of Bloodsport 3, which reunited the previous sequel's star Daniel Bernhardt with James Hong and Pat Morita in cameos, Master He-Il-Cho in an extended bit part, John Rhys-Davies playing the evil mastermind in this film's story, and future director Jared Stahelski and Albert playing an associate Jahi Suri as the pair of competitors in this film's illicit version of Kumite. While the original film and its first sequel were both solid martial arts thriller, the first being, well, what many believe to be a true story at the time, but now has come out that much of Frank Dukes' recount of how he won the Kumite might have been bullshit. And the second being a surprisingly well-handled morality tale of redemption of one's sins through hard work and the ancient art of beating the crap out of one's enemies. Bloodsport 3 is somewhat a lesser film, although that's not to say that it's an uninteresting film altogether. Like Bloodsport 2 before it, this film is also a recount through flashbacks type of story, although there really isn't any sort of morality tale here, and the ultimate climax is more of an implied sort of resolution, rather than actually showing it. The story this time out is basically an evil gambler gathering around various international fighters for his personal version of Kumite, putting them in an arena, and then proceeding to sick his personal fighter, who turns out to be a Soviet-era war criminal, onto these poor fuckers, and then betting on the outcome. Only the hero stands his way with revenge on his mind. Although he needs extra skills insurance, so he seeks out an old contact to teach him how to kick people's asses without being able to see them. I don't quite get how that's supposed to work, but sure enough it does. The acting is pretty rough around the edges, and much of the cast recruited due to their prowess in the fighting arena rather than acting, but that ain't a handicap for this one. Like the previous films, this one's got plenty of fights in it, so you'll not get bored by the end of it. Although most of the fights last maybe 15-20 seconds. And while the lack of a clear resolution to the hero's story might deter those who don't like the stories left unfinished, the sight of Daniel Bernhardt in a James Bond casino-grade penguin suit taking a rob of ninjas might be what bad movie fans would pay to see. Now, there's no gore in this one, aside from many broken bodies during the competition. An explosion also occurs at a critical plot point. While studying for his postgraduate degree in ass-kicking, Cardo is tempted by a woman who takes off a towel to join him in the spa, but he wisely refuses the offer. You don't see anything approximating bare flesh, but he does, and he doesn't want to upset his master, so he declines. I give Bloodsport 3 a C, 5 out of 10, meaning it's a passable bit of martial arts hokum that the fans of the franchise might seek out to complete the Alex Cardo story, but not really necessary. Okay for watching by casual martial arts fans, although the story structure might piss off quite a few. Now, just like the previous film, this is one of the early releases from Jail Entertainment, a label that appeared in the early 2000s, putting out skeleton discs so available in grey market DVD sales at that period. Later JL releases were bootleg duplicates of foreign discs with their original versions region coding removed. Picture quality is pretty decent given that it's simply an upgraded VHS print, with some very minor remastering to it. Although shadow detail is a little lacking, the clarity is not perfect, with mild issues of resolution. Although the VHS nature of the original print factors into this equation. The soundtrack is standard bitrate stereo and sounds well enough. There are no subtitles and the disc has no supplement. And that'll be it for the Bloodsport film. I will review the original Bloodsport way into the future, maybe plenty months away. While Bloodsport 4, which is probably the worst one in the series, I'll review in maybe a few weeks, hopefully. And that's it for this review.